Hey everybody, welcome to Racing to Real Estate. I'm Josh Tucker. This is our co-host John Roberts. We have a great show lined up for you today. John, no guest today, but me and you are going to be the guests.
It's a little lonely.
We're going to carry it, but we will not run out of stuff to talk about. That's for sure.
We never do that.
Before we get started, John, let's just take a couple of seconds to recognize our sponsors, Anchor Real Estate and Duckworths. Obviously, this is the Duckworths Studio. We are in the offices of Anchor Real Estate located here in rainy, cold Mooresville, North Carolina today.
It is an ugly day, but there's warmth in here.
There is warmth in here.
Warmth and sunshine all around.
I like that. Follow us on social media. We're on Instagram. We're on Twitter. We are on Facebook. You can message us on those channels. You can send us questions using hashtag R2RE, or you can email us at racingtorealestate@gmail.com. John, I think we got several viewer questions to go through later in the show.
Yeah, lots of questions today. We decided to kind of backload the show a little bit with the questions from you, the viewers, because you guys are the most important things out there. But also, real estate's pretty important, Josh. And we want to once again say, if you want to check out some of the properties that we have featured, anchorre.com, the robertsteamre.com, we have the properties up there, and we have some really good ones right now. And also, Josh, I think one of the myths we always deal with.
I like myths.
Yeah, there's myths is at this time of year. You know, yes, the market is slowing down a little bit, but local board of real estate agents here has given us some pretty good figures that some of the things are going up. House prices, average listing price, and average sales price, those are both going up. So that's the good sign at this time of year. When somewhat the market slows down, it hasn't the past few years, but this year it's slowing down in a traditional fall time.
Yeah, it is. And I think that's, like you said, it hasn't done that a lot in the last few years because I think just the growth of the economy, the growth of the housing market has kept a lot of buyers in the game through these holiday months. Now I think we're starting to go back to a little bit of a seasonal slowdown since the overall market is slowing. It's also a little bit of a cyclical, slowdown. Just looking at the data over month and year over year data, I think home prices have kind of reached a crest. I think we'll start seeing those level off a little bit, and eventually, slowly, I think it's going to turn from a seller's market to a buyer's market.
Yeah, and it does, and like Josh said, cyclical is the key word right there because these things go in cycles. They always have, really since the advent of the American economy. If you look at it, it's a graph that goes up and down, almost the exact same way for years. You have peaks and valleys. You just have to be ready to deal with them when they come your way. And that's why you need to consult your local real estate professional, because that's what we do, is we watch these cycles and we know how to handle them.
Yeah, so a couple of things in that report that was released just earlier today from the Charlotte Regional Realtor Association that obviously you have mentioned on the slowing market. I think that the year-over-year home sales in October continued to decrease at 6 months in a row. A couple of positive things that I read in that was that pending sales in October, so sales that were listed and under contract, that those actually increased 5% when compared to October of 2017, and actually up 11.8% compared to September of this year. So pending home sales are up, which I think is a good thing. That shows that there's a lot of activity out there in the market right now. And then the other cool thing is new residential listings increased 6.9% from October of 17 to October of this year. So new listings increasing year over year for October and pending sales increasing year over year. I think those are two positive things to keep our eye out over the slow season of the winter.
Yeah, one of the biggest indicators we always have about how good a housing market is or how bad a housing market is, it's simply put, you go to your local real estate school and see how many people are in there studying to get their licenses. If those classrooms are full, it tells you that the market is very good. But there's also a little bit of downside to that because right now, and Josh, you said just a moment ago, nationally, there's more real estate agents than ever. Is that correct?
Yeah, very close. So the report was released, I think, over the weekend or maybe on Friday from the National Association of Realtors. They are ending October of 2018. They're at 1.367 million members.
Wow.
In the United States. Highest ever was actually October of 2006, 1.371. So we're within a handful of new realtors to make it the highest level ever. So a lot of people getting into the business.
And that tells you it's a good thing that the market is good because people wouldn't be dying to get into it if it wasn't good. But there is a little bit of a downside to that. And that means now that everybody has that Aunt Mary that is now a real estate agent, and you get a little pressure to use Aunt Mary because, of course, you want to help out. It's like we always joke, support the local economy. But I don't think you would go to a dentist just because they were brand new and there was Aunt Mary was your dentist. You still need to look at a professional in any way, shape, or form, whether it's plumber, dentist, electrician. Look at the experience, look at the track record, and I think that's going to give you the ammunition you need to say, look, Aunt Mary, nothing personal, you're brand new to the game. I need somebody who's proven in a certain market, and I need somebody who has a track record at getting these deals done and getting these deals closed. Because, again, you can be nice to Aunt Mary, or you can get your transaction done the right way.
Yeah, there's a lot of truth to that. But the hard part is we all are new sometime.
Yes. Everybody's new sometime.
So that makes it hard because I remember when I was new and nobody wanted to have me be their first deal. So you kind of got to stick your neck out on the line and hope for the best. One thing I would advise new agents, be careful about who you hang your license with or what firm. That can really help you in gaining those early clients.
True.
If you have either a team of, people behind you that have that track record, or a company that has a lot of support behind their agents to help them, so that the public understands that this might be a newer agent, but they're either with a company that's done a lot of business or they're part of a team that has been really active over the last couple of years. So
because these real estate transactions, they're complex, and everyone teaches you a new thing. So really, you learn something new every time you do one of these transactions. But you also, again, have to look at track records. And we feel here at Anchor Real Estate, we have a very good track record of getting these deals done, getting them closed, and getting them closed properly, and repeat business as well. So again, nothing against old Aunt Mary. If you like her, go with her. If it makes you comfortable. But then again, make sure you're getting your bang for your buck on your real estate transaction.
Yeah, make sure Aunt Mary has a good team of people behind her.
Yes.
Like I said, I think that's just as important. It's okay with using Aunt Mary if Aunt Mary has a team of people behind her that are very experienced.
Aunt Mary, if you'd like to come by and speak with us here at Anchor Real Estate, you can do that too, because we can help you out as well.
Yep, we can help with that.
All right, let's get off of old Aunt Mary. She's
we're stressing Aunt Mary out.
Yeah, she's probably saying,
had enough. Yeah, she's starting to second guess her decision, and we don't want her to do that. So.
All right, so next item up for bids, Josh, let's talk a little racing. What do you say?
Yeah, absolutely. John, did you, I know that a lot of racing over the weekend. Did you have a chance to do anything other than watch racing over the weekend?
We pretty much watched all three of those races because, not only is this a great time of year, but also Phoenix is a great racetrack to watch. There's action. The races aren't particularly that long. They can go by in a hurry. And there was so much on the line. All three of these races determine who was going to be in the championship for next week. And again, we were sitting here a while ago saying, where did this season go? What happened to it? And time flies when you're having fun. Fun season, fun weekend of racing.
Yeah, it was. It was fun weekend. I, so you guys know, and some people know, I got my lake house on the market for sale. And
you should check it out too.
Yeah, check it out. It's on the website. So I had some showings at the house over the weekend, so I had to, thankful for my buddies over there at Sirius Satellite Radio, the NASCAR Channel 90. I was tuning in over the weekend to some of the action there, and then made it back to the house to watch the rest of the Cup race on Sunday. But man, let's start with the truck series. That race Friday night, pretty action-packed.
What a great race! The trucks always put on a fantastic show, but when you're talking, going 5 and 6 wide and fighting right down to the end, you just really didn't know who was going to be in or who was going to be out all the way up until the end, and that's what it's all about. Yeah, and I think that there was a lot of conversation leading up to Phoenix about, some called it a reconfiguration. I know we had Todd Bodine on the show last week, and you and him were having some conversation about whether it was a reconfiguration or perhaps a renovation. Or just perhaps a renovation, whatever it was. Proved to be successful. There was a lot of conversation going in about restarts, where they moved the start-finish line compared to where it used to be. Yeah, they actually had restart practice for NASCAR's
First time I've ever seen that.
Ever heard of that? Yeah. But that tells you it's cool. It's an unknown. It's a new thing. Yeah, it's cool. And one of the interesting things I heard in the truck race, and I had never really given this much thought before I heard it from one of the drivers that they interviewed, you can't see the flag man from the restart box. Or the start zone. So, these drivers, they're really relying on their spotter. Yeah. Especially to start the races, because NASCAR starts the race. Yeah. You're not supposed to accelerate till the green flag is waved. Yeah.
Now on restarts, it's a little different. There's a control car, and you have a box that you can start within. But so I found that kind of interesting, that the drivers couldn't see the flagman from the start zone.
Yeah.
So really relying on
it made for great racing. It made for a great product.
It did. I think overall in all three series, but first time we really got to see it was during some, practice, some of the shows that aired, on both Fox and NBC Sports, showing practices and qualifying, and the facility itself. I mean, at ISM, what they've done there to me is just amazing. I mean,
that's a beautiful track. It's a wonderful place.
It is.
And drivers like it, fans like it. The teams like it. Everybody likes Phoenix.
New fan zone, like in Victory Lane. I see where they now have a tunnel. You can walk from the grandstands. You come out Victory Lane. They got like a margarita bar there. They got a chill zone.
And they put the fans right up there, with the winner. Which
is cool. New garages for the
sold out grandstand.
Sold out grandstands on Sunday.
How about that?
That's pretty impressive. So
it's good to see.
But yeah, so a lot of conversation, a lot of anxiety going in. I think the trucks were the first ones to kind of kick it off, and I think it was a great race. Obviously, Moffitt took the win there, but a lot of passing, a lot of great restarts, a lot of it was an exciting race to watch. And happy for Moffitt to win. Harrison Burton coming home with a third place finish, I thought was really cool in his second start.
Yep.
So just a lot to look forward there in that truck series.
Yeah, and Brett Moffitt, the whole season long with Hattori Racing, they've had about 8 full-time guys bringing that truck, and they go out there and win that many races and have a shot at the championship. Who really knows what the future holds for that team? But if they were to be able to win this championship, and they have an equal, it's a 4-way battle. Yeah. If you finish ahead of the other 3 drivers, you have the championship. And the way that's set up there, they can win just as Johnny Sauter can win, just as Justin Haley. Anybody else that's in there, they can win that thing. And what a Cinderella story that would be. It's a David versus Goliath.
Yeah, it is. So let's talk about that championship for the trucks. We've got Sauter, we've got Haley, we got Noah Gragson, and we got Brett Moffitt going to Homestead to go for the championship.
Yeah, so you got 4 guys head-to-head. Whoever finishes first, no matter if they finish 21st,
whoever finishes ahead of the highest finisher of those 4 wins the championship.
Yeah, and you just gotta say Johnny Sauter's the favorite going. I mean, that team has been on fire.
Especially on the mile and a half.
Yeah,
I mean, they've been really good.
So they're the favorite. But then again, this is a race car. It's not a Rolex. Things can happen. You can get caught up in other people's messes, and there's so much on the line. And so many guys that have won these championships before have had a little bit of luck along the way, not just being the favorite.
Yeah, and it's hard to. I mean, obviously Johnny is the favorite based off of what we've seen, so far year to date. Mm-hmm. But I think you got to look at what Justin Haley's been able to accomplish. Kind of underrated. He comes in and gets a few wins this year. I don't think a lot of people had him picked early in the year in a championship four. So I certainly wouldn't rule him out. He's shown a lot of speed in the championship rounds. So I think he's got a lot of opportunity. I think Noah Gragson, don't have as many wins, to attribute,
but still can win.
I'll tell you, every week has had a lot of speed, and that's what it's going to take at Homestead. You're going to have to put yourself in a position to be there at the end, and he's proven that he can do that.
Yeah, and chances are, when you're involved in this, now that we have a championship 4 and we do it this way over the past few years, we've seen it used to be you could go into this race and say, okay, I need to just maybe finish 10th and have this guy finish here. Yeah. Right now, most of these guys go in, and if you don't go in with this attitude, I think you're mistaken. These guys go in to win that race. Usually the champion of the season wins the Homestead Miami race.
The finale, yeah. Yep. I mean, I don't know. I don't know the stats of that for the Truck Series or the Xfinity Series. I know at the Cup Series, the last 4 years,
need to win.
The championship has been won by the person that won
the race. Yeah.
So and it's probably very similar in trucks or Xfinity.
You need to, just because the other guys are so good. You need a perfect day. Yeah. And a perfect day means a win.
What do you think? And obviously everybody's motivated by different things. Talking about Noah Gragson, obviously been announced that he's leaving the Truck Series next year to go run at Junior Motorsports full time in the number 1 car, replacing Elliott Sadler. Do you think, I don't know about the other, I'm sure Johnny Sauter will be a truck racer again next year. He's been in the series for a long time.
I believe he will be.
Obviously a great contender. I don't know about Brett Moffitt. I think Justin Haley will probably be a full-time truck series driver again next year. I did hear rumors of some more Xfinity starts with GMS, but Noah for sure, not truck racing next year, going to Xfinity.
Yeah.
Do you think that gives him a little more motivation, knowing that, hey, this is my only shot to have a Truck Series championship?
True.
I'm going to Homestead to do it, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to make it happen.
Any little thing helps. Any little incentive that you possibly can have. But, it's probably hard to have for anybody to have more incentive than just being in the championship for, because there's a lot involved, and there's a pretty big paycheck. There's a trophy, and you're going to be a champion, because if you look over the course of sports, as long as we've had professional sports, there's different tiers of human beings. There's competitors, there's winners, and then there's champions.
Yep.
There's a lot of competitors.
There is, yeah.
There's a bunch of winners. There are just a handful of champions. And it's, if you can say you were one, like our partner Greg Biffle, he was a 2-time champion. He's a champion of the trucks and champion in the Busch, now the Xfinity Series. And that really is something to hang a hat on, that you were the champion.
Yeah, bigger than the paycheck.
Huge.
The paycheck's big, but obviously being able to say that you were the champion, there's like you said, there's not very many of those.
Yeah.
And to put your name up in those ranks is definitely something that all 4 of them, I'm sure, are going to be fighting hard to do on Sunday or on Friday.
And hate the fact that Elliott Sadler is now not going to be involved in the Championship 4 in the Xfinity Series, because I would have really liked to have seen him go out on top. What a class act, great guy. Elliott, wish you the best, and I know what you're doing. I know how you're motivated to do it. Great racing career, won Cup races, but just won't be in that Championship 4.
No. So I watched most of the Xfinity race, and it was exciting. Elliott never really had a great car on
he's going
Saturday.
back and forth.
He kind of had some early contact there in the beginning of the race. I think with Chad Fincham maybe.
Yeah, there was contact.
Right front. Correct, I think he got into him.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of slowed him down. I think that Phoenix, a lot of people, interestingly, some consider it a short track, some don't.
Mm-hmm.
I heard the commentators talking about that over the weekend. But
kind of
whatever you want to call it, short track or not, downforce is big at Phoenix.
Yeah.
And I think if you damage the front of that car, if you got front fenders damaged or something like that, your car is going to work totally different. So it might not be an intermediate track like a mile and a half, but it's certainly a lot more aero dependent compared to what I call short track in Bristol or Martinsville.
True. Yeah, it is. And also one of the things that we saw that was pretty impressive, before Saturday, the lowest starting position of a winner of an Xfinity Series race at Phoenix was 20th. I don't remember who it was. I don't remember who it was, but it was a 20th place start. Well, here comes Christopher Bell, starts shotgun on the field very last because of the was it engine problem?
They didn't even.
They swapped the.
They did. I think they did.
Yeah, it was engine issue. So he goes to the back of the pack and comes up through there. I mean, before you know it, he was up there and goes on to win it. And now he is. And he had to win. He was one of those guys.
Yeah,
he had to win. There was no other scenario at which he could have done it. So has to win. Starts last. Wins the race. If you saw the look on his face after the race, you understand why he was that excited.
Yeah, and I don't think thinking back, I don't think it was an engine issue. I don't even think they attempted to qualify. I think they had trouble in tech.
Yeah.
And they didn't
they failed the inspection.
They failed inspection, and they didn't even get a chance to qualify in the first round of qualifying on Saturday.
You get 3 shots at the inspection. They went through the 4th time. Yeah. That's what happened. Then he went through back.
Yeah, so, to see him make that charge and did it like a veteran.
Oh, yeah.
Very methodical. He wasn't, I'm starting at the back, but I need stage points. And he knew that he had to win.
Yep.
He wasn't really concerned about stage points, I don't think.
Wouldn't help him. Yeah,
it wasn't helping him. So he said, I'm going to take my time. Mm-hmm. I'm going to methodically work my way up through this field.
Yeah.
And show people that I'm here and I'm going to win this race. And by gosh, he did it. Yeah. Early on, it was looking like Allgaier couldn't be touched.
Yep.
He led.
He had his trouble.
The huge bit of the race, winning stage 1 and stage 2.
Yep.
And then just, he had trouble there. I think it was him and Nemechek, right?
Yeah.
I think Nemechek was leading the race and spun out, which caused a caution, and then they ended up getting together on a restart or something like that. And and
So if you
Allgaier out.
if you look at a favorite though in that 4, though, I'd have to say it's Christopher Bell.
Well, based off of his performance last week at Phoenix,
Yeah.
and really all year,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, I think that was his 7th win.
Yeah, he's been good all year.
Yeah, I mean, he's been good. So breaking that one down, what do we got? We got Christopher Bell, we got Cole Custer, Daniel Hemrick, Tyler Reddick, are the 4 drivers in the Xfinity Series going down there. You know, I mean, it's impressive that Tyler Reddick has been able to make it to that championship 4. I don't necessarily know that they've shown the speed all year on these 1.5-mile tracks to go down there and really fight for a championship, but you never know. They have had a few races this year where they've shown that speed and were able to, you know, get up there and lead races, not necessarily win races. I think they won in Daytona. So, you know, I'd say out of the 4, his odds are probably the lowest. Hemrick's still winless, you know, but man has had fast race cars. I thought he might be a contender for the win on Saturday. You know, he was really chasing down Christopher Bell, appeared like he had some speed, and he's had a lot of speed, but still winless. So
he knows what he's doing next year.
He does know what he's doing next year. Yep. So yeah, I agree. Cole Custer, kind of the same boat. He's been, hit or miss all year. He's shown a lot of speed. He finally broke into the winner's circle a couple of weeks ago, which was cool to see. But you know, I think overall, you know, they're racing Bell, and they know it.
Yeah,
you know, for sure. Yeah. Well, cool. So we've gotten through trucks. We've gotten through Xfinity. A lot of action in the Cup race.
Now
John,
the big show.
Do you think we should step away for a quick 30-second commercial here from our sponsor, Duckworths? And we'll be back in just a few seconds to break down the Cup race and a lot more.
Duckworths Grill and Tap House is your neighborhood restaurant. Good food, good friends, a huge selection of craft beers on tap, not to mention the weekly and daily food specials. 5 locations in the Charlotte metro area. Make sure to go down and check out your local Duckworths. Welcome back, everybody. Racing to Real Estate. John Roberts and Josh Tucker with you. Let's start talking about the Cup Series, Josh, because we covered the other 2, and now this is the big show. It's the one everybody's really going to be watching this weekend because we have some interesting characters in the Championship 4, and really, you know, we talked about the big 3 all year long. There's a big 3. It was Harvick, Kyle Busch, and Martin Truex. They were winning every darn thing, and then they started fading away a little bit. And everybody said, "Okay, are they going to make it?" And then Kevin Harvick gets the big penalty and gets his spot in the Championship 4 taken away. So we had a pretty interesting race at Phoenix going into it. Yeah.
Kind of starting with that Harvick penalty, I think that took a lot of people by surprise, being that it was announced so late. You know, usually NASCAR will announce penalties on Tuesdays.
Wednesday, a huge hammer came down.
But we've seen Harvick put in a corner before.
And he's dangerous.
Typically that makes him more dangerous, right? You know, so I wasn't surprised. Obviously a huge penalty, losing crew chief, losing car chief, the point penalty, encumbered win at Texas, so he still gets record for the win, but it didn't advance him automatically to the playoffs. So big penalty, but I was not surprised to see Harvick come out and get the pole
he
and
came out
dominate
swinging
early in the race. Because I mean, you know, we've seen that the same earlier in the year, right? I mean, he had a big penalty at Vegas.
And then went out and won Phoenix.
With the rear windshield deal, right?
So I mean, if a dude's won 9 races at a particular racetrack, it's his own personal playground. So had a pretty good idea going in that he was either going to win or make his way in the Championship 4, and it certainly wasn't a walk in the park for him. It was certainly
no. I mean, I think early on things were looking really good for him, and then I guess it was just a few laps to go. In stage 1, they cut a right front tire, and it's not very often, especially at Phoenix and these tracks where they carry a lot of speed, where you see somebody cut a tire and not wreck. So how lucky was he?
Have a little bit of luck again.
Cut a tire, was able to make it to pit road without hitting any walls, without tearing fenders off the car. Made it to pit road, but pitted early. That was 2 laps before the stage was ending, so they had already closed pit road. So he came on pit road while pit road was closed for the stage, which is an automatic penalty. And that penalty is you're not eligible for the waiver round. So being ineligible for the waiver round on that stage caution put him a lap down, but I don't think he was lapped down for too long. I think he battled his way back into the being the lucky dog there and caught a caution and got back on the lead lap. And man, he had a fast car. He said, I remember him saying that in his interview after the race that car wasn't quite as good after that tire. Probably, drug the splitter all the way around the racetrack. So
but still pretty dang good.
Still pretty good, yeah. So early on, man, he was, certainly the one to beat. A lot of pit road penalties, I think, kind of influenced or changed the way the race played out yesterday with Chase Elliott.
I was surprised, yeah. When Chase Elliott was busted for speed, and I was surprised at that.
Yeah, and he was super fast.
Yep.
I mean, Harvick didn't pull away from Chase in that first stage very much. I think it was only a half second.
Nope.
At no time did he have a second lead. I think it was always, between 5 and 6, 7 car lengths. And then once Harvick cut the tire, Chase Elliott showed everybody, hey, I'm here to win this race. And the speeding penalties really took the wind out of their sails.
That's tough, but man, it's
hard to come back from.
Yeah, it's tough, but it's pretty cut and dry.
And then another
where and when.
Big penalty implicating a playoff driver was Kurt Busch passing a pace car on pit road.
Yeah.
It's a big no-no,
And what he said, we can't repeat what he said, but what he said was somewhat humorous.
Yeah.
He said he thinks it's a little bit confusing and it may be harming the sport.
Yeah.
Did I paraphrase that right?
Yeah, I think that's pretty close. Yeah, as close as we can get.
He didn't use the same words.
No, not quite. But I think that penalty hurt because once again, I think once Chase Elliott got his penalty, Kurt Busch showed, I'm here to win this race, and he led a bunch of the race. He was really fast through the middle part of the race, and then got that penalty and just really hard to overcome that lap that he was down. He did end up getting the lap back later in the race, and drove back up towards the front.
He did, but just too little, too late.
Yeah, too little, too late. Well, and then the restart with him and Hamlin and
then
somebody else made it 3 wide.
Then
Eric Jones was in there, and then Kyle Busch was digging on the apron down there, and 4 wide going into turn 1 at Phoenix just don't usually work real well.
No.
So I think that them two had some contact, which ultimately ended up taking Chase Elliott out of the deal as well.
Yeah, when they started the playoffs, I had the 2 Busch brothers, Harvick and Keselowski, as the last 4. So now I only got 2 of my 4 left. But Kyle Busch was my pick for the championship. And I think he's about dangerous as anybody else going down there. Now, it's a toss-up between these 4.
Yeah, it is.
I don't think there's a clear... I mean, sometimes you go into these things with somewhat of a clear favorite, but... Man, we've got the 4 best are in there, and it's really hard to sit here and say some guy has any type of advantage. If anybody, I'd give a slight advantage to Kyle Busch just because he won.
Yeah, he's the most recent winner, but that don't always.
It doesn't always
mean much.
Doesn't mean that much.
I think that it's hard. I had 3 of my 4 are still in it, which are the big 3. So I had the big three and Denny Hamlin. Obviously, Hamlin went out very early.
Yeah, but I was when the big 3 started fading a little bit. But then they proved why they're the big 3.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know, between Harvick, Busch, Truex, and Logano. Man, I think it's hard. Logano came out and proclaimed himself the favorite.
Yeah.
This weekend in Phoenix,
and which he
quite back that up.
Was in.
They had some trouble there and wrecked out early, but I don't know. I think it's hard. Of the 4, Logano's the only one that isn't a champion, and he's also the only one that he's never won at Homestead.
Yeah.
The other 3 have won at Homestead, and they've all won championships by winning at Homestead.
Yeah.
So if anything, I think that might put Logano at a little bit of a disadvantage, just because the others have been there and done that.
Yeah, and that team, Joey has fallen. Not Joey, but just his team around him. They've had some pretty disappointing runs when they did make that championship 4. They've had some bad luck.
Yeah, they have.
They've been there before, but it hadn't.
I'll tell you, his pit crew's on fire right now, though. I mean, his pit crew is really, really strong. So I think that if it comes down to something at Homestead where all 4 of them are still in contention late in the race, and there's a late race caution,
could be huge.
Logano's pit crew is performing very well under pressure. So that could change the shape of it. I think if it's long runs. If it comes down to the end of the race with a long run, man, I still have my money on Harvick. I think it's just going to be very tough to beat him. I think the guy
it's going to be tough to beat him too.
Speed all year. The one thing that could hurt Harvick would be the penalty. They've shown a lot of negligence on pit road this year. They've had a lot of pit road penalties, pit crew members that have
over the wall too soon,
or loose wheels, or whatever it would be on controlled tires.
Yeah.
But
you got to be perfect. And that's why a championship in the Cup Series, I still say, is one of the most underrated accomplishments because so much has to come together for you to win one race. Even more has to come together for you to win a championship, and it's a lot because one guy messes up one lug nut,
I know.
it can cost you the championship.
Yeah, crazy. A lot different
It's
than
just
any
the
other
dang truth.
sport.
Yep.
I mean, it's. But that's exactly right. You have to have a perfect day.
Perfect day.
And
you can drop a pass in the end zone, but you can also make up for it.
Right.
But you can have things happen here that you can't really make up.
Yeah. You go a lap down at Homestead in this race, it's going to really put you behind the 8 ball. So.
It's going to be great to. I mean, the competition level is going to be. It's going to be great to watch. That's one you're really going to want to. I mean, you should really want to watch all these races, but
Yeah, and just going back to Phoenix quickly, like we had mentioned earlier, a sellout crowd. I haven't heard anything leading into Homestead, but usually Homestead has a big crowd anyway because it's championship weekend.
And it's 3 great events.
Yeah, but I imagine that place will be packed house, and the atmosphere there will
great
be
atmosphere.
Oh, yeah.
And it's South Florida.
South Florida, you can't go wrong. It'll probably be 90 degrees.
Yep.
They do run the race later in the day, so I think that race starts 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock or something.
4, yeah.
And maybe it is later in the afternoon. It ends
It's
under
late.
the lights.
Put it that way.
Yeah, which is
and
always
you finish
cool.
up under the lights.
So man, I'm looking forward to Homestead. Yeah. It's going to be a fun one for sure. So just a few announcements, John. Unless there's anything else on the Cup stuff that you want to cover.
I don't think we need to say much more about that.
We'll let the results over the weekend do the talking, right? So I heard a few announcements over the weekend. Just want to get your opinion on, or see if you have any thoughts on. Sheldon Creed won the ARCA title 2018. Mm-hmm. It was announced that he's going to be full-time racing in the Truck Series with GMS. I think that's really cool.
Yep.
I love seeing opportunities for these young guys. I think Sheldon's 20 or 21, somewhere in their early 20s.
He's young, but he's already champion.
He's already a champion. Yeah. I think that to have him get the opportunity to come in and run a competitive truck full-time, it'll be interesting to watch him and see what he's able to do there.
Yeah, I expect good things out of him.
I do too. Obviously, it was announced over the weekend that Ross Chastain going to the 42 full-time for Chip Ganassi Racing.
Yeah, and my just basic thought on Ross Chastain, it is just good to see because we've known over the years the word driver development has turned into whose daddy has the most point.
Right.
The thing about that is that Ross Chastain's in that car based on talent.
That's right.
And really talent alone.
Yeah, he's not bringing a bunch of money to the table.
That's kind of, so I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, and I wonder, obviously he ran that car 3 times this year. He won 1 race.
Yeah.
He was in, right there in the mix to win at Darlington when him and Harvick got into it, leading the race.
Yeah.
I think the other one was Richmond that he ran, and I think he ran 2nd or 3rd in that race, was really strong. So obviously the guy deserves it. What do you think that a person like John Hunter Nemechek thinks, when he heard that announcement? I'm sure his name was kind of in the hat too, going for that ride. And I'm sure, I think John Hunter's extremely talented.
Great young talent. Yeah, he's going to get his shot.
He has a bright future ahead of him, and it'll be interesting to see where he ends up. I've heard some rumors or scuttle about possibly him going to GMS in the Xfinity car. So that could be a good spot for them. Obviously, GMS has really good equipment.
And there's still spots for talent.
I agree.
And John Hunter's got it, and he's also got a pretty good racing name.
Yeah. And talking about Xfinity, I heard over the weekend Jeffrey Earnhardt. It was announced that he'll get 9 races in the 18 Joe Gibbs Racing car.
Yep. That's
for
a great
2019. So that's a really good.
Great
that's kind of another Ross Chastain or Matt DiBenedetto announcement, right? Somebody that's extremely underfunded.
Yep.
But they're going out there. They're doing the best they can with the equipment that they have.
Yeah.
And they get noticed. And Joe Gibbs Racing, he gets a call from Joe Gibbs saying, "Hey, bud, we want you to be in this 18 car for some races."
And if you want to get noticed, drive the 18 car.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's what's
what do you
think?
Really. Do you think that puts somebody? So he'll be sharing that ride with the likes of Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, who knows? But that can be a good thing. Also, puts a lot of pressure on somebody. I feel like kind of like John Hunter and Ross Chastain sharing that ride with Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson was able to go out and win in that car. So I think when people share a ride with a Cup guy, it's great because they know they're an equipment that can win races. But at the same time, if they don't perform,
It's the good news, bad news thing.
Right, they're a little stressed, right?
Here's the good news: you're driving for Joe Gibbs Racing. Here's the bad news: you're driving for Joe Gibbs Racing. You got to be good.
Yeah, and talking about Joe Gibbs Racing, so it was officially announced over the weekend. Finally, Truex Jr. Cole Pern going to the 19.
Worst kept secret in NASCAR
worst
history.
kept secret around. That was, I think everybody in the industry knew that was happening, but finally officially announced. Still no announcement on where that leaves Daniel Suarez. Mm-hmm. A lot of people have speculated that he's going to go in the 41 car.
Yeah.
Still no official announcement from Kurt Busch either, though.
Yeah, true.
A lot of speculation he's going to the one car.
Yeah, still
Chip
all speculation.
But pretty late in the season to not have those announcements made.
Yeah, we're towards the end of silly season here.
Yeah. So I would say,
I expect you're going to hear
not this
something
week,
soon.
certainly the week after the championship will be known where those people are going and what the future holds for Kurt Busch, Jamie McMurray, Daniel Suarez, even AJ Allmendinger.
Yeah.
Still hasn't, said anything yet about his plans for 2019. So all good stuff. Real quickly, I noted Phoenix had a TV ratings yesterday, 2.1,
nice.
Which tied the 2017 numbers. I followed the TV ratings somewhat in the last several weeks, really all season long. They've been down compared to the last couple of years. So nice to see Phoenix tying last year's 2017 race number. Mm-hmm. It's not an improvement from 2017, but at least it's not a decline.
Decline.
It's sold out, so I think that was pretty cool to see those ratings pretty good. And then, not sure that it warrants a lot of discussion, but I found it interesting. NASCAR obviously made a bid to acquire ISC for $1.9 billion. I heard that announcement Friday night. I obviously, as you know, follow the stock market quite a bit. I do some trading and whatnot here and there. I always got CNBC on here in the office. And I noticed this morning, within an hour of trading opening up, that ISC stock was up 15%.
Yeah.
So, not uncommon, I guess, when a company, makes a public bid to take over like that. But pretty interesting that NASCAR is looking at doing that. I mean, kind of two of the same entity in a way. I mean, both ran by the France family.
But they're looking to combine forces to make it stronger is basically the bottom line from Jim France, and that makes good sense.
It does.
Put your two companies together and you're stronger as one.
It does. Absolutely. Well, John, let's, before we jump into the fan questions and we'll go clear to close, let's take another quick break, hear from our sponsor, Anchor Real Estate, and then we've got 6 or 8 good fan questions. There are viewer questions that we want to get through. So let's we'll be back with you in about 10 or 15 seconds here from our sponsor, Anchor Real Estate. Anchor Real Estate is your boutique real estate firm located in Mooresville, North Carolina. We specialize in the Lake Norman area. Whether you are buying or selling, our innovation through communication will get you results. That's Anchor Real Estate in Mooresville, North Carolina. Make sure you follow us on social media.
Well, fans, we love to hear from you on our social media applications and platforms. You can find us very easily, R2RE on Facebook, Twitter,
Instagram.
We're basically really easy to find.
Yeah. And this is one of my favorite parts of the show, too, John. I love the fan engagement. I love the questions. So let's jump right in.
Okay, Brett from Boone says, why does Homestead have the season finale every year? Isn't it time to move it around? Well, I'll tell you what. It's going to be hard to argue a better place to have it than Homestead. It's a track that you can drive around on. You can have your fate in your own hands a little bit. Yeah. And also, the weather is always going to be good. It's just a great place to put everybody down there to end the season. I don't think we should move it. I think it should stay there.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I mean, I think you mentioned the key thing for me is the weather.
Yeah.
Where else would you move it to this time of year where you're not either going to be freezing cold, which is going to make it unappealing for people to come out and sit through the race, or there's going to be a big chance of rain, possibly snow, depending on where you moved it to. So
exactly.
I love it that it's at Homestead. I've been down there for that race several times, and it's a blast down there.
Probably going to stay there.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, how about a real estate question here? Aaron from Fort Mill says, should I even try to sell my house before the first of the year? And Aaron, I think you're trying to say, is this a downtime of the year because of the holidays and the weather and everything that people don't buy? People buy homes all year long.
All year. Yeah.
And people sell homes all year long. It depends on your personal situation, but if you need to sell, now's as good a time as any.
Yeah, Aaron, here's what I would say. I think that, and I've said this on this show before, and I say it to clients every day, and I say it to all of our agents here in the office every day, that this time of year, selling a home, you are not going to waste your time showing it to people that are not real buyers.
Exactly.
And that's one of the things I love.
You get some tire kickers in the summer.
In the summertime and in the spring, there's a lot of people just out looking at real estate that aren't real buyers, and they're not going to buy a home quickly. I can't tell you how many clients in the last 30 or 45 days that I've talked to that said we showed our house one time and found a buyer.
Yeah.
So people looking today are real buyers.
Are serious.
They're very serious. So I would say yes, depending on your situation, if you want to move or need to move, don't hesitate to list it this time of year.
Okay, so Tracy from Asheville asked us this question, which is, I kind of like this because it gives us an opportunity to inform some people. So tell us more about Anchor RE, about Anchor Real Estate. So Josh, take the lead on this one.
Okay, so Anchor Real Estate, obviously we covered this in the very first episode. You could go back and watch. We had a pretty detailed first or second episode. Maybe it was the second one when we had Greg Biffle on. So we started Anchor Real Estate in 2015. It's owned by Greg Biffle and myself. We have grown now to 7 agents, including John Roberts, who's with me, his wife Tracy, play a big role in the company as well. We are a boutique real estate company. We're located in Mooresville, North Carolina. We specialize around Lake Norman, but we do properties off the water, on the water. We do equestrian properties. But we are a boutique small firm with 7 agents, and we think that sets us apart.
Okay, I like this question. Back to racing. This is Don from Concord. He said, if you were president of NASCAR, what would you do first?
John, I'll let you answer that one first, and then I'll say what I think.
Okay, first of all, I'm not president of NASCAR.
But if you were, they want to know.
If I were. Okay, first thing I do, shorten the races, shorten the season. It's the first thing I do. And also, I want to deem a race cryable, right? So your wife can cry on top of the pit box if you win the Daytona 500, the Brickyard, your first race, or a championship, or it's been a minimum 2 seasons in between your wins. If your wife cries after a Bristol win when you won 2 weeks ago, automatic 25-point penalty, $25,000 fine.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, you can cry. We will deem races as cryable.
That's cryable.
Yeah.
Okay. I like it. I like it. I mean, I don't know that if I was the president of NASCAR that would be on my short list of things to implement, but that's hey, everybody's got their important thoughts. I couldn't agree with your earlier thoughts, though, for sure. I think shortening the races, shortening the season, especially shortening the season.
Yeah.
I think it would be, that would probably be on my short list of things to do. I don't think that we need to go to racetracks more than once.
True.
So I think that we would either need to find other tracks to go to, or we need to shorten the season to the point of if we only have 17 racetracks, we have 17 weeks in the season.
Yeah.
But I think every racetrack one time in the season is important.
Yep, and that's what we would do if we were president. But fortunately,
for
a lot of people,
and
we're
that's
not.
Probably a good thing, right?
Yeah, and they have a fine president. It's run the sport very well. But thanks everybody for the questions. We sure appreciate them. They were fun and hopefully informative to you along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. We appreciate all the questions. Like John said earlier, if you have questions for us, we take questions about racing, real estate, or anything else.
Just want to have some fun. Please feel free.
Follow us on social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. All of our episodes are on YouTube and on iTunes. You can email us at racingtorealestate@gmail.com, and we will do our best to get your questions answered on the show. John, I think that's all we got. You ready to clear to close?
Ready to clear to close.
All right.
This is Clear to Close, where we get to give you a little thought. The Speaker of the House, the former Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan, once said, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, and we should use them in that proportion. And I think truer words were never said, because it seems like these days, we all have our opinions, we all want to talk, but let's make sure we listen along the way. And maybe if we listen twice as much as we talk, we'd all learn more. Yeah, good thoughts for sure. I think I've been guilty of that in times past as well. So I'm guilty all the time. Yeah. So those are good words to hear for sure. For me, just clear to close, a couple of quick things. We had the Lake Norman People Helping Pets Auction event last Wednesday at Langtree Plantation. Good time. Man, that was a super fun time. We had probably 150 people or so show up, and just a great time. I don't know the final numbers, but I believe we were able to raise over $90,000. Nice. To help the animals, and obviously a lot of that goes towards our new pet education and adoption facility that we're building here in Mooresville. So super excited about that. It was a great evening, a lot of fun.
and I hope everybody that was there had a great time. I'm leaving later this week, go to Raleigh, North Carolina. I'll be there for a couple of days for some NC Realtors Board of Director meetings, so that's always fun and exciting. As we mentioned earlier, the Association of Realtors, the membership base is growing tremendously, yep. So I'm happy to be on the board of directors of both our state association and our local association, and be involved. So I look forward to going to Raleigh and hearing what's going on down there. And then Thanksgiving next week already, man. The year has flown by, but I hope everybody has a phenomenal Thanksgiving. Spend some time with friends and family, have some good food, watch some football, and that's all I got.
All right, that's all we got. Thanks for joining us. This is Racing to Real Estate. We'll see you next time.